I've bought Bitcoin as low as 35 or I don't know, maybe $2,000, all the way up to, I've recently bought Bitcoin. I do feel very bullish that we aren't at the top yet. The percentages of people that are moving to use stable coins versus Bitcoin for daily transactions is just on a tear.
Bitcoin was so early that there could be something that could replace it.
There wasn't really a lot of options. A lot of people just had to lose money.
To those who don't know what it is, you're saying it's essentially just really a replacement for the dollar?
Yes, we have some issues with fiat currencies. And so Bitcoin is basically offering an alternative to that, where you can actually have more control over your money. It's peer-to-peer, meaning that we don't have to go through a bank.
And when you said that it could be used to transactions or buy stuff, it just brought me back to what Elon Musk did, that they're gonna potentially accept Bitcoin for payments for their cars, and which makes it a bit interesting because that's something that for something to become a currency, it has to be accepted in day-to-day transactions. And I think we've come to a point already that the scales are tipping, that it's becoming accepted even more. And that being said, here's my next question. Elon Musk invested not super early, but I don't know how far this would go, but it may still be early still. But he wasn't there when it was $200, $1,000. He came in 30, I don't know, 30, 35, 40, wherever it is. It's at a very, very high price already. My question is this. For those who are thinking about it right now, that what Leigh is saying is actually, it makes sense. At 45,000, is it still cheap right now?
My personal perspective is that I do think we have more runway in this bull market, especially with people like Elon Musk jumping on board. I mean, the amount of Bitcoin that's currently being mined is already being bought up just by Grayscale alone, let alone all of these other companies trying to jump in. So like Elon Musk or Tesla, I believe they bought at 30K in like an over-the-counter kind of market. But the more we see stuff like that, the more it's kind of setting that floor that's going to make it harder for Bitcoin to go below. And so it's interesting because previously we've had these kind of bull and bear cycles that have maybe been like a 3-year bear market. And even after this bull run is finished, I don't know how long we'll be in a bear market or how low it'll go. It'll really depend, I think, what happens next. There's rumors that like Apple might, add Bitcoin to their treasury. Right? There's, whether they will or not, I don't know. But I think that it kind of depends on these next, like probably 6 months, what happens and what kind of, if there is institutional FOMO coming into Bitcoin or not, right? Like, so I think there's still a lot of factors on what might kind of set us, like what determines what the top is going to be for this bull run. But I do feel very bullish that we aren't at the top yet. Like that would be my personal kind of opinion. But
got it. Given that Tesla, Elon Musk, it's a bit entrepreneurial, and if you are investing, say for example for a stock, the only reason that you would buy it higher is you think that it's still grossly undervalued. And I think that even seeing that from Elon Musk, him doing that was sort of a trigger also for me, that if a lot of these large institutions start coming in at these levels, then like what you said, it builds a base that it would be harder for it to go lower because a lot of people bought it at a very, very high price.
You always feel like you're late to the party. And it's funny because Elon Musk even said that, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, where he's like, okay, before he bought Bitcoin, he's like, I feel kind of late. But I think that everyone does, right? Because it's easy to look back and be like, wow, only a few months ago, it was, like 15K, and look at it now. And so I think that that's where dollar cost averaging has really been my friend, over these past few years, because it is hard to be like, I missed the boat. But if you keep just saying that and never actually, jumping in, then you're going to keep saying that. The people that said $10,000 seemed expensive, maybe are still saying, that maybe they still haven't jumped in. And if they had back then, they would be, feeling a little bit better. But so dollar cost averaging is really been just kind of my I don't know, helped me keep my sanity through all of this, right, as well. It's just, all right, I'm just going to invest what I can at the, whatever the price is. So I've bought Bitcoin as low as 35 or I don't know, maybe $2,000, all the way up to, I've recently bought Bitcoin. And so
looking at it, the hindsight, the biggest regret that I had was when I started investing, it was March 2018. Bitcoin was around 3,000, 4,000. And looking back, I should have placed more. Even if I bought it at 10,000, it would still be super cheap right now. Or even when everything dropped last March 2020, it would have been that would have been a really, really good opportunity. Or even at the end of November or December when it was still at 15,000, that would have still been very, very good looking at it from where we are today. We've been talking a lot about Bitcoin, and you've mentioned Ethereum. What are the larger cap cryptocurrencies that you like, and for those who are watching this, that they should at least study? And to everyone watching, please do not buy just because we talk about it here. Please still do your own due diligence. It's your money, it's your responsibility. Use this as information, but at the end of the day, you have to study, because you're gonna lose a lot of money if you invest just because you hear it off of YouTube. So anything that you think is interesting right now?
So I before I jump into that, I want to echo what you said. That's why I got so wrecked in 2017, 2018 is I just was like, well, people are talking about this one, I guess I'll jump on that one. And I didn't really know, like really do my own due diligence and research. And that's, I want to completely echo what you just said, that's the most important thing you can do is like, if someone were to ask you, why did you buy that? Why do you think that's valuable? You should be able to answer that, right? So anyway, in terms of like other altcoins that I'm excited about and interested in, I have mentioned Ethereum. And the reason that I'm excited about Ethereum is that there's so much development on top of it. And so, it's been around as one of the oldest altcoins in the sense that it's not something that just popped up out of nowhere, but also it's really the basis technology for a lot of what we've seen with the DeFi boom this last year. And so a lot of these DeFi tokens are based off of Ethereum. And so that's really helping to push its value as well. Another area of the kind of altcoin cryptoverse that I am personally interested in is privacy coins as well. And so basically Bitcoin is pseudo-anonymous. So it's a public ledger, meaning that if I know your Bitcoin address, I can learn certain things about you, right? I can see what transactions you're doing. I can see who you're sending it to. I can see how much is in your wallet. And so there's definitely, there's certain aspects to Bitcoin that are maybe not as private as some would like. And so privacy coins just use a different type of technology where each one's a little bit different. Monero's kind of like the oldest and one of the biggest privacy coins and the one that I personally like. But the way that they kind of anonymize it a bit is like if you send a transaction, there's like all these decoy, transactions that are automatically sent with it. So it's more private. So and it masks certain pieces of information a little bit better. So the reason that I'm excited about privacy coins specifically is I do think that as we start to see more regulatory measures being put in place on Bitcoin and maybe Ethereum, like we saw recently in Nigeria that they just were like, halt, stop, no cryptocurrencies. India's had a lot of issues with crypto getting shut down, where with the privacy coin, it is truly even more kind of that peer-to-peer that we were talking about earlier, in the sense that it's very difficult to shut down privacy coins because you can't really see what's happening as much. So anyway, I personally think that especially in certain countries where they are having regulatory issues with or just, government mandates and different issues, I think that could be an area that really flourishes as well.
You mentioned Ethereum, and I had a good chat with a friend regarding this, and I want to know your thoughts on this. What's your thoughts on Cardano?
I think that, to be honest, it's not a coin that I've like spent a ton of time really researching, but I actually do think like the underlying tech is good. I think there's some good development. I personally think that it's obviously seen a lot of price action lately. So I know the Cardano community has been very excited lately. And so, it's interesting because I talk about having Bitcoin and Ethereum as most of my personal portfolio, but I actually do think that taking a percentage of your portfolio and having some of these other, like whether it's Monero, EOS, Cardano, Litecoin, like, whatever, like just having like
Have
little
Litecoin,
buckets
yeah.
of all of these different coins is kind of fun, because then when they start to pop off, it's, you haven't allocated a huge percentage of your portfolio, but it's fun to kind of have a little bit of skin in the game. So I like to do that with kind of a smaller percentage. So
Okay, interesting. How do you think stable coins will go also? There's so much talk that it could be, especially Facebook was developing something that's pegged to certain currencies as well. Do you think that will be something that will be more pushed also in the future in terms of daily transactions?
So coin payments was kind of like the first, and they're still the biggest in terms of volume payment processor for crypto. And they publish all sorts of like really interesting statistics, and the level or the percentages of people that are moving to use stable coins versus Bitcoin for daily transactions is just on a tear, especially in Asia. And like they actually, I think, have, I forget now, but 50 or 60% of all crypto transactions, I think, are in stable coins in Asia, which is really interesting. But I think that we will start to see it used more for that. We talked earlier about store value versus currency. And I think that a lot of merchants are maybe more interested in accepting stable coins because there's less fluctuation. So I do think that we will see probably a trend towards that. But yeah, stablecoins, it's kind of just like it's similar to a fiat currency. In fact, a lot of them are backed by a fiat currency, right? And so if you're looking for an investment that you think will grow over time, you probably don't want to look at stablecoins because their whole purpose is to try to stay the same price. But in terms of like actual usage and people spending and using their crypto, I do think that will be an area that continues.
And I think that's when we would possibly see Bitcoin to become a bit stable when it gets used for day-to-day transactions already. Primarily because you want to buy a car, and that price should be almost the same a year from now as well. So but I think we're very, very far from that for Bitcoin as a whole as well. I'm curious about this. You mentioned that your strategy is dollar cost averaging. How do you segment it? Is there a specific allocation that you would do so that people could also have a strategy that, okay, it's my first time to come in right now. I have a total allocated, say, 10,000 US dollars that I want to put in. Should they how do you suggest they chop it up, and then before they add to that 10,000 later on?
Yeah, that's a great question. So if someone has like a chunk of change versus like, okay, I'm going to start allocating a certain percentage every month, that's a separate thing. But if they're like, okay, I've got a chunk of change that I want to invest, I generally would just kind of place some more like laddered orders. And so like, maybe I'm like, okay, I'm not sure if it's going to go up or go down. Maybe I'll take like 3K of it or whatever, 5K, whatever you decide. I'm just going to get in now to kind of like lock in that. But I'm going to kind of wait and like maybe place some orders that are kind of going down and watch the market a little bit closer. So if it does end up shooting up to the moon and I'm kicking myself that I didn't, put all 10 in, at least I got 5 in, right? Or if it drops and I'm like, oh wow, I could have bought it all at this lower price. You're like, well, at least I still have 5 that I can. So that kind of, I don't know, it helps my sanity a little bit in those kinds of moments, just to, because it can be really, I don't know, mentally taxing, I think, when you're like, oh man, I messed this up. So when I kind of like segment it out a little bit, it kind of helps reduce that, if that makes sense. So
But we talked about that it still has a long runway to go. And what if, just so that people can also be, I guess, have the right framework in this, Bitcoin, even though it has good underlying fundamentals, it's getting more attention right now, it still has a lot of volatility. Seeing it from 42,000 go to 28,000 in just a few days.
Right.
Even from where it is right now, there could be volatility, and a lot of people are saying that it could even drop still by 50%. What's your advice to people that they get encouraged, they invest, and then when they start investing, that's when it starts to decline by 40 or 50%?
I know this is a little cliche, but you kind of have to have like, I think, a little bit of a strong stomach, when you're investing in crypto. But truly, I do think that it depends on what your goals are. Like if you are saying, okay, this is an asset that I think is going to, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, be worth significantly more than it is now. If that's something that you are looking at it as a fundamental value, you're like, I think that, yes, that is something for me personally, I think will happen. Then, holding on to it for the long term is, I don't want to say like easier, but it's just like, okay, this isn't money I'm planning to touch for the next 5 to 10 years anyway.
Mm.
But if it's something that you're trying to maybe trade or, catch different market movements, then that is different. And that is, I would say, a more stressful, situation to be in. But that's also where I think a lot of people, when they're new to investing, they get excited about trading because you can make great money, with catching some of those waves and all of that. But if you don't know what you're doing, you can also really lose a lot of money. And so for most people that are just getting into crypto, my general advice is like, just buy Bitcoin and hold on to it. And 5 years from now, you'll probably thank me, And so, but yeah, I do think it depends on what your goals are and what you're trying to accomplish. Like, I almost want to use, I know this is different, but like the GameStop analogy of what just happened there, where there was a very clear strategy, right? Wall Street Bets was like, we have our enter and exit positions. This is what we're planning to do. The people that got out and made the money, they stuck to kind of the plan. But then there was all of this kind of retail FOMO of people being like, I don't really know why this is going up, but I'm just going to throw my money in and hope to catch the wave. And they didn't get out in time because that wasn't a long-term hold. Like, these investors weren't investing in GameStop because they thought GameStop was really innovating and 5 years from now was going to be this great company again, right? It was a very specific strategy. And so I think really understanding, is this a long-term hold, or is this something that is going to be a little bit more of a quick exit where you need to have a plan for, is a difference too.
It's so tempting if you're using a platform to leverage. And my suggestion, if you're doing this for the first time, please don't leverage. That's what will you lose a lot of money if it doesn't work your way. And it's so tempting. It's easy money if it's done properly, or if you time it. But from what I've seen, most of the times you get burned more than it could actually help you. So it's tempting. You could earn more, but it's a really very, very sharp double-edged sword. So
let's say you've got certain traders that you follow that you're like, okay, I'm going to kind of follow what they're doing. You might see the tweet, where they're entering a certain position, but you might miss the tweet where they said they were getting out of that position. So yeah, I think exactly, like, to your point, like, don't be following necessarily what other people are doing, but make decisions based on your own skill and comfort and risk levels, tolerance levels.
That's so true. Because the same skill and emotion that you have for stocks or forex is also the same for crypto. And the one that tweeted that they're buying something, for sure, they have an exit that works for them, and you're not sure if that entry that they're doing, it may not be something that would fit you. Like for example, I was actually thinking that when Bitcoin hit 28, 29, 30,000, I was just trading it also at that time. So I have a long-term position where I just hold on to it. But I also have a trading position. I was trading 30, 34, 30, 33, 30, so around those levels. But that's part of my plan. Not everyone should do that, and not everyone also can stomach it, because the biggest regret that if you sell it at 33, I should not have sold it because now it's 40, now it's 42. But for me, I'm okay with that, because that position was really for trading. Anyways, let's put this to a close. Any final words for people who, I don't know, in general for 2021 about investing in cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin?
Just have a plan. Know what you want to accomplish and what your goals are. We've talked about long-term holding. We've talked about trading. When we'll see the top of this bull run, I don't know if it will be within 2021 or if it will spill into 2022. I'm not sure. Do you want to take some profits at the top? If so, how much? Or are you okay, having it kind of slide back down and potentially going into a bear market? Like, these are all things to think about now, to be prepared for now. And so make sure that you have your wallets set up, that you've got the right account. So you've got everything all figured out, so that when you're like, okay, today is the day I'm going to take action on this, you're not like, oh, wait, how do I set up an account on Binance or whatever it is, right? And so just really making sure that you've got your plan in place, you've got everything all set up, and just really think through what you want to do in terms of, either holding or selling and some of those different things.
Got it. And well said. And guys, to everyone watching this, please, again, I'll say this over and over. Right after this, please research still. Don't open an account just because you hear it off here. It's something that you have to come in with full conviction, because similar to Forex and stocks and crypto, what will make you money is the conviction that when everyone else is selling, because you know what you did, you will still follow what your strategy is. And Leah said it right, that it's all about what your strategy is, what your entry and your exit is as well. you have a YouTube channel. Can you inform everyone watching this what is it? How can they consume the videos that you are making, which is 10 times much better than the videos that I have.
Oh.
So to everyone watching, if you think this channel is good, her channel is much better with so much editing. So
Well, thank you. That's very sweet of you to say. But yeah, so I have a YouTube channel. I kind of focus a little bit more on like kind of more like bite-sized kind of content. Like most of my videos are less than 2 minutes, and so but you know, that's kind of where I've just had a lot of fun. And I try to think about like, okay, if my friends were to come to me and like what kind of content would they, you know, maybe resonate with, or what's going to kind of make sense. So anyway, there's a lot of costumes involved. There's a lot of interesting edits. And so, yeah, it's edutainment, right? Or whatever you call it. So
I'll put the link in the description below, but for those who want to search it, yeah, you forgot to.
Oh, sorry. Maybe just tell you where to go. No. Okay. Just if you just search for Girl Gone Crypto on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, you'll find me. So
got it. So guys, to everyone watching this, please subscribe to her channel. Even though you don't have to subscribe to mine, as long as you subscribe to her channel. That's very fine already. You'll learn more from her channel than my channel. So just subscribe to her. Don't have to even subscribe here. But I think Lee has one request to all of you that's watching this. If you guys are enjoying, please hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm. But yeah, so I guess that's it. I hope you had fun, and thank you so much for joining the podcast. And to everyone that's watching this, I hope you guys also learned a lot as well. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put it in the comment section, and then we'll try to make videos on top of that, or we'll try our best to answer them as well, because the whole goal of all of this is for you to be informed, for you to be able to have the right decision when it comes to your money. Because at the end of the day, when you are young, when you're in your 20s, your 30s, or your 40s, the best thing that you could ever do with it is, in my opinion, invest it. Even though there's volatility, it's better to invest your money with the chance that it might go down, instead of buying stuff that you don't actually need. So lessen those trips to Prada, lessen those trips of buying stuff that will depreciate in value. Why not just buy something that will give you the chance to make money in the future? So that's it for now. Marvin Germo. I hope this video helps you trade well, trade strong, trade smart. See you all again soon, and God bless you all.